Paizo have released a second edition of the Pathfinder adventure card game. I'm quite a big fan of this game, although it's not for everyone. It's one of those games that is quite divisive, and I think some of the criticisms that people have of the previous edition is that the theme and story is sort of lacking, really, and also that the cards don't have great art, and perhaps the graphic design isn't fantastic. I believe some of the changes that I've seen in the press about this set is that those are being addressed in this set. So let's have a quick look inside the box. So if we can actually get in. I did cheat a bit earlier and actually take off the shrink beforehand, as it looked a bit difficult to get off. I guess you wouldn't want to see me struggling with that. So just a quick look around the box. This has got really good art actually on the sides of the box. So inside we have a core set rulebook. Again, really good art. Well, one thing I will say about I played the Mum's Mask base set the most, and that's where I learnt the rules. And I will say that rulebook was pretty terrible in terms of the game's not that complicated, but you wouldn't really have guessed it from reading the rulebook. So hopefully this one's an improvement. A quick start guide. This was again in the Mum's Mask. It had this, and if it's like the Mum's Mask, you actually had a set of cards in the box, which actually you sort of play through as the first part of the storyline. Now, one of the things that, as I said earlier, that it was criticised for previously is that there isn't much feeling of playing through a role-playing game, like a storyline that you're playing through, because the storyline previously was just written on cards that introduced the scenario, so quite a small amount of text. And one thing I will say though is that on Board Game Geek, though, somebody had written really good storylines in line with all of the expansions and the base set, which were great. But obviously that's not official. So this is their answer to that criticism, I would say. So we now have a storybook which sets out so there we go. So the scenario is set out for you. I guess we shouldn't go too far through this, so people who are afraid of spoilers. But so that is, I think, in response to the criticism. In the previous edition as well, instead of having standees like these ones for your character, you had a card which you would sort of put down on the table to indicate where your character was standing, which was a bit clunky, I guess. One thing about that though is that sometimes your character in effect could get lost in the location, so you would actually shuffle your card into the location deck. So I'm not sure how they address that now. We also have counters, which from memory I don't remember being in the first edition. Very strange backs to them. But anyway, let me just say, let's look at it. Yeah, so they're all hero points. I don't know if these, I was going to say, are for each character, but having said that, there's only 3 types and there's 4 characters on each sheet, so that's not going to work. So I'm not sure what the difference is, because if you look on the other side, they're just all hero points. So hero points again are from memory again, a new concept, which I think allow you to bring your character back to life, which I don't recall being possible in the previous set. Anyway, so we have some dice. And what is different here from the previous edition is that you have dividers here, and also the ability to make up your own way of, I guess, filing the cards. In the previous edition, they actually had an insert for you, which I, again, quite liked, but others didn't. I think I've got a feeling if you sleeve your cards, there are some issues. So, in the centre here we have standees. These are the dividers that I mentioned. There was a set way of organising your cards as well with the previous edition, so again, I guess you didn't have to follow it, but the back of the, from memory, I actually got it here, actually, the back of the rule book, I think, suggested. Oh, I can't see it now. But no, suggested how you set out your cards. And this one, of course, you can just do it how you wish. So, yeah. This is another different thing as well. So in the previous set, you would have proxies. That you just have a set of, as this looks here, like a silhouette card. So previously, for those who haven't played it, you generally working your way through a location deck, trying to find a villain most likely, or a henchman, which is a type of enemy. And you'd have, because of that mechanic and the way you can have, say, up to 6, I think, or maybe more location decks, they had to print 6 henchman cards for every single scenario that you played, which meant that obviously you get loads and loads of cards in your set, which you only use once or only for that scenario. So now they've just got proxies, and I'm guessing they just tell you what the enemy that you're trying to discover is in the storybook. So yeah, story Banes. That's I think that's the big again, the villains that you're trying to find from memory. That's the sort of the big bosses, I guess, if you want to call it that. So monsters, barriers, weapons, spells, armors, items. You can read. I'm not sure why I'm reading it out. Move from the game. Feature adventures. Okay. And then your character decks. So what's good about this game is that you start off with a starting deck, and then thereafter you can pick up cards as you go, which increases the powerfulness of your character over time, which I really like. That's what I really like about the game, is that you, like a role-playing game, you start with a relatively weak character and you build them up over time. And as well as building your deck, you also build your character up as well. Actually, if you just have a quick look at the character. So here's one of the decks you get in the box. So again, these types of cards in the old game, from memory, were landscape, I think. So you see at the top here. So if you're doing an intelligence test, you use a D12, indicating that this is a character who has high intelligence. Whereas if you're using Constitution, it's a D4. And as you can see, as you level up your character, you can do a D4 plus 1, plus 2, whatever it is you want to do. Want to choose rather. And then also you have, these are keywords generally on cards, that if it's an arcane check, you get a plus 2 automatically. Or if it's for craft, you get a plus 1. So go to the back. So then we've got a bit of spiel about who your character is, and then this is showing you what your deck list is. So again, as you go through and level up your character, you can include extra cards within your deck that fit the type of character that you are. Let's have a quick look at these characters. So Thumbus, Harsk, Kira. Maricel, I think, was in Rise of the Rune Lords, which was the first box. Certainly recognise it from the app, though I didn't play it very much. And this guy too, actually. Then we've got a different type of card. Again, what? Say one for each character. Oh yeah, one for each character. So I thought I was double-sided with him on the back. Sorry, just 2 cards I turned over. So that's these. These have this. These got backs. Yeah. So these got the same backs as the previous sets. I think you can mix them in and play with previous sets. And this is where we're starting to see the new design. So a lot of them have this type of the art at the top and then that type of design. So these are locations. So just see. There's quite a lot of locations, as you can see. These are scourges. These are the proxies that we talked about earlier. Different types of those. So you've got villain proxies. Actually don't know what that is. And we've got the monsters. So again, whether you're a fan of this art or not, I guess is personal choice. It's certainly much better designed in terms of the graphic design of the card to the previous versions. I'll get one in a second to show you. one of the things that is particularly not liked about the previous version is this type of thing, where you have a very plain background, which is returning here for weapons. Spells always tended to have slightly better sort of filler art like this. Weapons and allies were very much just on a plain background. So if I just skim through these cards and quickly show you some art from one of the previous editions. So this is an example. So this is a previous edition. As you can see, this very, very plain text at the bottom here is not particularly fantastic. So if you compare it, as I said, you can see that the graphic design on this card is significantly better compared to this, which is a bit plain looking. So yeah, that's one of the things they have changed, which I would applaud them for. And then we just have a quick scoot through the other cards, so you can see if there's any differences. And cards a bit. Right, there we go. So we have blessings. So there's a different background here, which I'm guessing a different colour denotes different things. Again, they're very much more. This is very clear in terms of the red. They're obviously monsters. Blue are blessings, I'm guessing. Yeah, yellow are barriers. Yeah, and they've all got their own variation on the art style. I have to admit, when I first saw the cards, I didn't particularly like them, but looking at them now, I think they're pretty good. I mean, they're not up to Fantasy Flight style, you know, art and the way that they put their cards together, but you know, very little is, let's be honest. Okay, I don't want to show too many cards, but yeah, the art is much nicer, much brighter. It pops a lot better off the card than the previous edition. Yeah, we'll just quickly scoot through these. It's a very cool piece of art. Again, story banes. Sorry, I don't know. It depends what you consider to be a spoiler, but you're going to see the card eventually. So that's quite, again, that's quite boring, isn't it? I'm not sure why they feel the need to put this beige background in on things. Why they can't have a background, just something like that, on every sort of card, so it's an actual full picture, is, you know, a bit of a mystery, really. They could even just put it against a wall or a floor, even, you know, just have like a paving stones or cobbles or something. At least look a bit more interesting than that. But other than that, so it's mainly the weapons and that barrier that we just saw. Generally, the beige background is gone unless it's an object. And then we see allies have got it too. Okay. And blessings. So there we go. I won't open this last deck, but I'll just show it to you because it's not going to have anything different in. As I mentioned earlier, this is the sort of open me first. So when do not open any cards yet. Oh well. So this, in the quick start guide, as it's showing you here, just has all the cards that you need as a sort of tutorial, basically, to teach you the game. So that's the unboxing of this box, just to show you what they're now doing as well. So this is the base set, as I said, and then this is the first expansion. Now this has 550 cards in it, I believe. Is that right? Yeah, it does. Which is, I say, a massive difference to the way that they used to do the expansion. So, for example, they used to be, I think it was 110 cards. I don't know if it will actually say on here. Yes, it does. Yeah, 110 cards. And there were, I think, 6 of these in the Mummy's Mask set that you had to play through. And these were roughly, I can't remember, £12, £15 each. Whereas now they've just got one big expansion, which has everything in for you to play, which admittedly is more expensive, but I don't think it certainly isn't 6 times 12 quid. I can't remember how much the RRP is. I paid about 40 quid for this, I think. Maybe 30 quid, but that was quite a lot of the RRP. So yeah, I'll also unbox this at some point. Thanks for watching.